Friends, today is Wednesday, the 9th of December, and we just finished celebrating the Eucharist, and today is the Feast of St. Juan Diego, in preparation for the Feast of Guadalupe on the 12th of December. And our readings today, beautiful Advent readings again, reminding us of the coming of the Messiah and what the Messiah brings to us. Isaiah looks forward to the comfort of the words of the gospel today that Jesus gives us. Comfort, give comfort to my people. Come to me, all of you who are weary. What does it say? Let me get the words here. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened. Reminds me of the readings we had Sunday, the first reading from Isaiah, which was, comfort ye, comfort, give comfort to my people, says the Lord. And Isaiah looking forward to the day when that comfort would come in the Messiah, the person of Jesus who says to us, come to me, all you who are labored and burdened, and I will give you rest. You know, the words of the scriptures always are an inspiration for us, and sometimes we take on burdens ourselves that we need not. Many of the burdens that we have are those we place upon ourselves, not others really placing on them, but we place those burdens on ourselves. And today's readings are a kind of reminder to let go and let God be your strength. Let go and let God be your strength. Isaiah says, they will run and not grow weary, walk and not grow faint. When the Lord is with us, we will be strong. Our God, who is that rock of strength, our firm foundation, and to let go of other burdens and to put on the yoke of Christ. You know, it sounds almost contradictory to let go of a burden, but to put on another yoke. But the yoke of Christ, of course, is quite different. You know, what is that burden that we carry? What is the burden that we carry? I once used the kind of analogy or the metaphor of a monkey on our back that has constantly has to be stroked and always wants attention. And that's that big inflated ego that we have. You know, when the great spiritual writers talk about the 7 deadly sins, Dante included, they always put pride and ego as the first. Pride and ego, that big inflated ego that kind of pushes down on our back, weighs us down, and we carry it. And the challenge in the spiritual life is to kind of shake it off. And if we can, then Isaiah says, we will soar as with eagle's wings. We will soar as with eagle's wings. Some of you may have heard a few weeks back when the President-elect Biden gave his acceptance speech, he quoted these words from Isaiah. Words to a wounded and nation that is struggling and in need of comfort. The words of Isaiah, the prophet, we will soar like eagles. And, of course, most people probably didn't know that we know that popular song, Eagle's Wings, but the words come from the prophet Isaiah. Words of comfort to a wounded nation that needs comfort and healing. And we hope, of course, that will come. We live in hope. There's so many challenges and difficulties in our country today with the pandemic and everything else. And so we hope for good and better times. Christians live in hope. Christians live in hope, as Isaiah prophesied 800 years before Christ for that comfort to come to his people. We live in that time now, the time of the Messiah. Now the challenge for us is to yoke ourselves to Christ. Again, it seems contradictory to let go of a yoke and to put on another. But Jesus says, my yoke is light, my yoke and burden is easy. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart. When we take upon that yoke, it doesn't mean freedom from suffering itself. Suffering will always be a part of life. When we take upon the yoke of Christ, what it means is that we don't give up suffering. Suffering will come. But freedom from self, freedom from the ego, freedom from that monkey on our back constantly wanting to be stroked. Freedom from self, a freedom from the ego that keeps us from seeing what is truly good in the world, keeps us from seeing other people. It keeps us imprisoned. That ego keeps us imprisoned. We are so bound in ourselves that we hardly see the world around us and the people who are around us and the people who are in need of that comfort and care that we as Christians can give. The yoke of Christ is self-gift. The yoke of Christ is self-gift, to give ourselves entirely for others as Jesus did. That is a yoke of Christ. It's a challenge, of course, it's a sacrifice. But the more we give away, the more we receive. In those reversals of the gospel, the more we can give away, the more that we will receive. And that's the yoke of Christ, to receive everything. To receive everything. Isn't that a good theme for our Advent season? The coming of the Messiah, who gives us everything that we need, who lifts the burdens that are placed upon our shoulders, even as we let go of self. The weight lifted, that the Lord gives us strength and hope. And if we can yoke ourselves to Christ and let go of the ego and those burdens, then, as Isaiah tells us, we will soar as on eagle's wings. Hold that thought, and we'll see you tomorrow.